What top am I wearing?
You are wearing the Man United 1999 goalkeeper shirt.
Look at that, mate.
It's the same style from Umbro.
Yeah, exactly.
From
Yeah. So let me quickly explain. It's a shirt I've always liked. Yeah, I've always liked that goalkeeper shirt. But obviously, and I admire Schmeichel, good keeper. But I'm never going to be wearing a Man United goalie shirt, am I? I saw this, an FA Cup shirt. Look at that. Beautiful. Best of both worlds, mate. No allegiance to Man United, but still get to wear the funky shirt.
Is it circa 1999? Does it have
It is, mate.
Does it have FA Cup / treble winners on it?
Hey, come on now. I mean, yeah, you did also win it this year. But look, AXA, remember that? The days of AXA sponsoring the FA Cup.
I remember the days of Littlewoods, mate. That's going further back still.
Okay, so now obviously the reason why we are wearing, Dan's wearing a Man United top and arm and wearing an FA Cup top, as discussed, is because today we're talking FA Cup is back. You might remember last season. It wasn't really that long ago because of how everything's moved, but we did from the quarterfinal to the final, we did predictions, and we're going to do the same thing right here on the brand new Rebellious Noise Football Channel. That's right. RNFC is the place to be. Oh, that rhymed, didn't it? That was nice. For all your football content from Rebellious Noise. How you feeling, Dan? You excited about the FA Cup?
Always, mate. Magic of the Cup. It's the oldest club competition in the world. And obviously, you and me, United and Arsenal supporters, our teams have won it more times. We're the two most successful clubs in FA Cup history, so let's get into this, I guess.
Yeah, it's a bit of a sore subject for me, obviously, being I mean, last year, last year, I had this top last year, and every prediction episode, I was thinking about wearing it if Arsenal had been knocked out. Do you remember last year? I wasn't that confident for us going to the final. And every show, I was like, well, obviously, when we get knocked out, I'll have something to wear then. I won't have to wear an Arsenal top. I'll just wear my FA Cup top. Because we went all the way to the final, actually won it, which was a glorious day. Now, I didn't get to wear this, so that's why I'm whacking it out here. But little did I think it'd be the first flipping episode of the season for the FA Cup that we do, because we're already out of it before the quarters even happened. So that's a big.
You were like, at least let us get to Wembley first.
Mate, it's so annoying because you want to celebrate. Obviously, you're kind of still celebrating the win in the next season, for as long as you can. Like Liverpool this year, which this ain't a Premier League show, but obviously they don't feel like champions right now. Did you just see that flash?
Yeah. I thought it was just your light.
I think it was outside.
Bang!
Don't, man. I'm scared.
It's the boogeyman, man. It's coming to get you.
All right. Anyway, let's get into talking about the FA Cup then. Like I said, this ain't a Liverpool show and it ain't a Premier League show. But they don't look like defending champs right now, and Arsenal definitely don't in the FA Cup because we ain't even in it. Let's talk about the teams that are in it though. Dan, we're kicking off with the first game of the weekend. That is Saturday, 20th of March at 12:15. We've got Bournemouth versus Southampton. Nice little derby going on here.
It's indeed, yes. Obviously, Bournemouth are going quite well in the Championship. They're aiming to obviously try and get into the playoffs, get back into the Premier League. Southampton have been on a little bit of a decent run recently. Obviously, I'm not going to say too much about us beating them 9-0, and then it seemed like that happened last time when they lost like 9-0 to Leicester. Then they went on a bit of a run. But yeah, I think
quite a run. I mean, they were doing really well. I did not see another 9-0 coming. That's how good they were doing. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I didn't even like losing a player early on, I would never have said 9-0. I'd have said, we'd probably get like 3 or 4, but,
We've got to be careful with this, though. There's those Twitter accounts that are like, have they mentioned the 9-0? Like on the commentary? Yes, they tweet it out straight away. And we're going to fall victim to that now if anyone's watching this and wanted to tweet about that. But
if you're playing Rebellious Noise Bingo, yeah.
Yeah, let's move away from the 9-0 because everyone seems to talk about it. But like you say, they could be looking for a resurgence. It's a good competition for Southampton to focus on, I think, because they're not exactly at risk of getting relegated. They're not really pushing for Europe, so
and this is a good chance for them to actually get into Europe. If it's always if one of the other teams that are in the semis or the final get into the main like Champions League or Europa League, then a
lot of people forget that every year. Obviously, Arsenal's route into the Europa League this season was the same thing.
Yeah.
Imagine if it's Bournemouth,
Well,
mate.
as I say, yeah, could be. I was going to say, it won't be this year.
It's a beautiful shirt they've got this year, so it'd be nice to see that in Europe. It'd be nice to see that back in the Premier League, to be fair. I like Bournemouth.
Yeah, they were one of those teams where I think, like, because it was such a small stadium, I suppose everyone was kind of getting behind them and being like, you know, this is going to be a right pain to play at this stadium. But, you know, it seems like, you know, they were doing quite well. I used to like them under Eddie Howe, and obviously him not being there anymore is...
yeah, a lot of changes recently.
Yeah, a bit of a disappointment, but you know, for this, like, if you're looking at this fixture as a whole, Bournemouth, Southampton, I think for me, I can only really see it going one way. I can see it going to the Premier League team.
Yeah, well, you know, like you mentioned earlier, the Magic Cup, we're always up for the upsets and stuff like that. And a lot of times, Championship teams do come out on top when you don't really expect it. But yeah, just the way both clubs are going at the moment. I mean, obviously, it'd be wrong of me not to mention Arsenal boy Jack Wilshere, obviously being at Bournemouth and how, you know, I still think he's a decent player and obviously could do a job, but recently he got himself in a bit of trouble. Obviously, bit of a brawl going on, so hopefully that doesn't happen in this game for him. But yeah, I'm like you. I'm going Southampton with this one. It's weird because there's a lot. So I got family in that area near Bournemouth, and there's a lot of Southampton fans down there, which is quite strange.
Like in London, mate, a lot of Man United.
Yeah, I forgot who I was talking to. But yeah, okay. I think the Bournemouth residents that are Southampton fans are probably going to be happier than the Bournemouth residents that are sticking with the locals. And I'm going to go with a 3-1 win to Southampton.
So I think it may be a bit closer. I'm going to go for the same scoreline that Southampton beat Arsenal by, to progress to the fifth round. Well, it's a big deal for them knocking the holders out. So
true, they're
any competition when the holders get knocked out, and then they went on to the fifth round and beat Wolves, which, you know, Wolves are a decent team as well. So, but yeah, I think they're going to go. I think it's going to go the same scoreline that they beat Arsenal by, and I think Southampton are going to win the game 1-0.
Yeah, I'm not against Southampton. I think they're a decent side as well. Always like one of those Premier League teams that you just don't really have a bad opinion about, for me anyway. But I've always had a soft spot for Bournemouth, and like you said, seeing the Southampton knocked us out recently, I think I'm going to be secretly, maybe publicly now that I've said it, rooting for Bournemouth in this one. But we'll see how it goes. But I do think it's probably more likely to be Southampton.
That was that an FA Cup final as well? It was David Seaman's last game for Arsenal as well, wasn't it? The year that he when he had the ponytail and the made the save in the semi-final against, was it Sheffield United or Millwall?
I think it was Sheffield United.
Sheffield United, yeah, when he literally clawed it from what seemed like miles behind him, and amazing save,
slingshot save, basically. It was like
at the Stretford end at Old Trafford as well. That was so.
Well, we've mentioned many times on this show, haven't we, about when the semis and the quarters are at neutral venues and not Wembley, but, you know, maybe that's a conversation for another day, like we always seem to say. But right, anyway, let's
have a whole discussion on that.
Exactly that. I think we probably will. Let's move on to the next game, and we are getting 2 Premier League sides this time around, and we've got Everton versus Man City at 5:30 kickoff. Is it?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so there we go. It's a late kickoff either way. Everton versus Man City. Man City are, much like they are with the League Cup, they are fans of this competition. It's another one that Pep seems to take quite seriously once he gets into the later stages of it. So, and Man City obviously running away with the league at the moment. So maybe there's a chance for an upset here. I guess I would say, I mean, Everton are doing really well under Ancelotti, don't get me wrong. But obviously City are a cut above them at the moment. But I do think that maybe because they've got a trophy in the bag, maybe they'll kind of take this foot off the gas here and rotate a bit more than usual. I don't know. Or then at the same time, you could say because of that, you might as well rev it up in the cup competition, because it's the league that you can kind of take it easy in right now because you're doing well. But does anyone really ever want to rotate in the league? So that's the thing.
Yeah, I think though at the moment City are in such a strong position in the league that they can afford to rotate. I think, you know, at time of recording, I think they're like 10 points above Man United. So they would literally have to capitulate and lose like 4
So you think it's more likely like they'll rotate in the league than in the FA Cup?
To be fair, I mean, they
could do both.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, I think for City, this is going to be their first like big test in the competition. So, I've gone on record on here a few times of saying City always seem to get easy ties, but I mean, so in this
few easy Europa League ties lately as well. So I feel your pain.
Yeah, I mean, so far you look at Man City. So far they have Birmingham City, Cheltenham Town, and Swansea. So it's the first time they're coming up against Premier League opposition in this year's FA Cup. Obviously, Everton away is never ever an easy game for any team,
and they've been very impressive this year.
Yeah, and I think what helps Everton is the fact that what could help City is the fact that there's no Everton fans there. So the Everton fans, that atmosphere at Goodison Park is always like a really intimidating environment because the fans are so close to the pitch. But it's really tough, this one, actually, because I would have said City, but, and I don't want to toot my own horn, but we've shown that they can be beaten. They've gone on such a good run, but I still think they're going to have too much for Everton on the day.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go a City win, and I'm going to go City to win by, I think it's going to be close. I think it'll be a 2-1 win, and maybe a 2-1 win in extra time.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I'm like you. I'm going 2-1 win for City as well. I think the one is going to be in there potentially to give a scare, basically, because I do think, like you, Everton could definitely do this, especially catching City on the wrong day. It's definitely possible, and I think this would be incredible for Everton to go all the way and win the FA Cup, So a great team over the years. Obviously haven't had much silverware recently, but they are a team with history and of silverware. And it's kind of one of those teams where I could see them lifting the FA Cup in a rebuild, much like in, recent years for Arsenal and the later stages of Wenger's career, trying to use their FA Cup as a kind of like stepping stone. So for greater things in the league. But then again, there's that kind of side of it, you could say, where Everton are already trying to climb up in the league and really focus on getting Europe. So maybe the trophy isn't, I don't want to say isn't what they're looking for, because I think every team and every football fan is looking for a trophy, but maybe they are, maybe their eye on the league position is a bit too heavy. And that could be a factor here as well. I don't know. But either way, I think I'm going with a 2-1 win for City. I like the idea of an extra time kind of one as well, because like I said, I think that one from Everton will be a scare to City, and a scare to City going into extra time, 1-1 would be quite a cool kind of predicament, I think, to see how that plays out.
Yeah, I think, it's one of them, I think, where it could well be that City go 1-0 in front, they think that they're cruising, and then Everton could get a goal in, say, like the 75th, 80th minute, and then it's like City are on the back foot for a little bit, hanging on, and they're just like, right, let's just get it to extra time and then regroup. And because obviously City have got the players there that can come on and just turn a game on its head, just like that sort of thing. So
yeah. Okay, well, moving on. We're sticking with two Premier League sides, and we are going to Sunday now, on 21st of March, 1:30 in the afternoon. We've got Chelsea at home facing Sheffield United. This time last year, I think we would have maybe took a bit longer with this one. I don't know about you, but I'm straight away saying Chelsea are going through. Just because, I mean no disrespect, but it hasn't been a good season for Sheffield United. Obviously, recently changing manager and all the turmoil they've kind of been under as well. It just doesn't feel like this is their season for anything, let alone a kind of shock cup defeat. Could be wrong. I'd like to be wrong, but I just don't see it at the moment. Obviously, when there's changes in the hierarchy, sometimes you do get a quick bounce back for these struggling teams, but I don't know. I can't see it myself. I think I'm going to go with a 2-0 win to Chelsea.
Yeah, I think obviously just like not long after losing their manager as well, Chris Wilder.
It means a lot to the club as well.
Yeah.
So what's happened this year might not be the best, but yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely got to be applauded for the job he did with them, bringing them up to the Premier League. And
it's not the same obviously achievement, but like when Ranieri got sacked from Leicester, it was like, you know what I mean? Like you can see why on that season, but at the same time, he just won you the league, and it's the same with Wilder. You know, he did so well to get him flying last year as well.
But then I think that shows this season how important fans are as well, because, you know, some of these games that they necessarily didn't win at home, would the crowd have spurred them on to, you know, put that extra 5-10% in and, you know, come out of that game with like a draw or a win. But, you know, it's all if, buts and maybes really. But, you know, I think they've resigned themselves to the fact that they will most likely be playing Championship football next season.
So maybe you go all out here then, you know. But then again, it ain't like they ain't tried in the league. They've tried.
Yeah, so. It's like what have they got to lose really? But saying that as well, much like Man City, this is Chelsea's first Premier League team that they're facing in this competition. Obviously, they faced Morecambe in the third round. Then they went on to face Luton in round 4, and then finally in round 5, it was Barnsley. So, that being said, I still think, Chelsea are going to have miles too much. I mean, I think...
Like you say, it is their first Premier League test, but not quite the same level as a test by Everton, is it?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like bottom of the Premiership, top of the Championship. It's like, I don't think there's that much kind of between like the Championship teams, you know, that could be potentially coming up. I mean, Barnsley, I'm, you know, not too sure how well Barnsley are doing. You know, no disrespect to Barnsley fans, I don't really
keep up with
follow. I don't really follow the Championship as much. But you know, that being said, I think it's going to be quite comfortable for Chelsea. Actually, I'm thinking 3 or 4-0. I think.
Okay.
That much.
Big scorers. I was tempted for a 3-0.
Yeah.
Calmed it down with 2. You're pushing all the way to a 4.
It's going to be 3 now, isn't it?
Yeah, to Sheffield United, mate. That's who's going to win. Yeah. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so moving on. We are, like I said, I'm not wearing a Man United top, guys. I'm not affiliated with that team. But this man over here, Dan the man, is quite clearly a Manchester United fan. And it is now time to talk. I sound like Howard Finkel there, for any wrestling fans. Go check out our wrestling channel.
For the main event, yeah.
Well, all right. To be fair, probably the biggest. I mean, Everton City is going to be a tasty one, but I think Leicester, Man United are 2 more evenly kind of matched teams at the moment. Obviously,
and it's going on last, so it's the main event. So
true that, yeah. It's second and third as well. Leicester City, Man United at 5 o'clock on the Sunday.
Which means I have to finish my roast a bit earlier.
True. I'll let you go first with this one, mate.
For me, this is the toughest one to pick. I mean, Everton City was tough, but I think for the fact of obviously Leicester and Man United, they're both so close in the Premier League. It just seems like whoever plays first each weekend is going to be second at the end of that day, sort of thing. And the way Leicester have been playing lately, they've been in such good form. But then, you know, so have United, in fairness. And what I think is going in our favour is we're away from home. Now, at time of recording, we have not lost away from home in 22 games. I think that's... Wow. I'm not sure if that's just in the league, but yeah, we're on a big run. I think it was us and City were both on... So City had gone unbeaten for the same amount of games as we were unbeaten away from home. So it's either 21 or 22. But yeah, we've been unbeaten for a considerable amount of time away from Old Trafford, which is surprising really, because Old Trafford used to be that fortress once upon a time, but you know.
But then again, no fans, so in all these other
exactly.
So,
but then on the flip side, Leicester have been playing some fantastic football. It's really honestly, I can see this ending up as like a 1-1 draw and going to penalties. I think it's that close to call. I think it's going all the way to pens, this one.
Wow, okay. We'll get on your final kind of prediction for it in a minute then. I'll just pepper some of my thoughts in there as well. I think like you, man, it's going to be a very, very close one. Obviously, you've got your Man United hat on at times when you're talking about Man United, so it's hard to remove yourself from it. But because your heart obviously wants them to do well and sees the benefits in it, in how they're playing. But so I'm going to try and take more of an outsider approach. And even that, though, I have to give it to Man United. They're doing better than I thought they would do this year. At the end of this season, we'll be doing our prediction reactions. Then we'll be predicting the table at the start of this on the original Rebellious Noise channel. So if you want to laugh, go back and check that out. But we'll be reviewing that in a few games time, I guess. I think our Sheffield United one might be a bit different as well. But yeah, going back to Man United, they are doing better than I thought they would. Leicester are doing very well as well. They're doing, like you say, they're keeping up. They're trading places really, second and third. I don't see anyone obviously catching Man City at this time. And then you think, well, then who wants if you both feel secure in top four, then who needs the FA Cup? You know, who wants it more? And I don't know. I really don't know what the objective is at City. I mean, is it at Leicester City? Is it to secure themselves as a constant kind of threat in the Champions League, and you know, placeholder of the Champions League spaces, or do they want more silverware like they did in the Premier League? You know, so in recent years. So yeah, it's kind of tough. Like, because again, I don't know what the objective is there, but. Oh, man, I really don't know what to say, because I could see it being penalties as well, but I could see it being 0-0. I feel like Man United, when they face these big teams, a lot of times they don't really get much goals in. Obviously, I'm thinking Chelsea recently as well. You know, as a neutral, great, but as a fan of either, it's a boring 0-0, you know, quite often with Man United and top six teams, it seems.
I mean, I thought that against Liverpool in the fourth round, and, you know, that was a blinding game that finished 3-2. So
yeah, true.
It shows that, you know, it does show that when the players want to, they can kind of turn.
Yeah, I guess
score.
when it's the league, it is a bit more cagey, because obviously none of you want to lose. Obviously, none of you want to lose the FA Cup as well. But like drawing ain't a big deal, obviously, and you can draw in the league. So coming away with a point each ain't the worst thing. But losing in the FA Cup, it's over. Obviously, you know, as an Arsenal fan, I know that. So. Yeah, so I think it's about, like, if there's a game, like you say, in the FA Cup, it's going to be a bit different like it was with the Liverpool game. So if it's going down to penalties, you know what? We all know it. Man United are the jammy side who always find a way. And you've got some good penalty takers there, as I'm sure a lot of people know from the memes with Fernandes. So I'm saying if he doesn't win a penalty and get you through in the 90 minutes, he'll probably get a penalty in the sudden death. So, yeah, I'm going to say Man United going through in penalties, actually.
Yeah, unfortunately, Bruno can't take all five, but
he'll take the fifth.
I mean, it is one of those. It's kind of awkward. I mean, Kasper Schmeichel, I feel, has got a decent record with saving penalties as well. So that's, you know, that could flip it. But
I'm sort of wearing his dad's shirt, as we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, I mean, it does look quite big on the sleeves as well. So it could well be his dad's shirt, you know. Yes, I'm going to go United. I'm going to go United on penalties.
You got it, ain't you? You got it. Yeah. If you're that close and you're a fan, you're going to be swayed, I think. Like,
I mean, the thing is like, I've come into it and I'm thinking to myself, you know what, I'm going to just come into it. I'm going to try and be as, like, objective as possible. You know, I thought I'm not just going to come straight out and say, oh, United are going to win 2-0, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, you know, because that would be doing a disservice to Leicester. You know, that would be disrespectful towards how good Leicester are playing at the moment, you know. People, you know, you hear about Leicester City, like before the year they won the title, they were one of these like yo-yo teams. But since they've won the league, it seems like, you know, they're consistently in like the top six. And, you know, I wouldn't be surprised to see it coming down to potentially United and Leicester battling out for that second place in the Premier League. You know, I think Leicester are going to finish in the top three for definite. I think they're going to go into the Champions League. But I do feel like, yeah, we're going to beat them. I'm hoping it's not. I'm hoping it's in normal time because, yeah, you know,
it's stressful, penalties.
To be fair, I'm one of these. If it's two neutral teams, I love a penalty shootout.
Oh yeah,
love nothing better than sit and watch. If a penalty shootout, if I just turn the TV on and it's two random teams and there's a penalty shootout, I'm sitting there and watching that penalty shootout.
Yeah, of course.
If it's my own team, I'll sit and watch it through like a bit like that. But and then going crazy. And
I mean, it's nothing like the relief of winning a shootout, but obviously
Yeah.
England, Colombia, we know all too well now.
The thing is, I think as England fans, you know, we've not had much success.
Exactly, that's why that one felt so good. But yeah, I get what you're saying, man. It's a tough one to pick. Let me ask you this though: who needs it more? Who needs the FA Cup? Who needs that trophy more? Because both these teams I could see winning if they weren't facing each other. Obviously, I'd say these are obviously favourites, but one of them's, you know, one of them's got to go. So, but who needs it the most? Because like you say, we got both of them fighting for second position in the league. Both of them seem secure in that. You never know, a slip up. And both of them want that Champions League spot. But who needs that trophy more? Which manager do you think needs that trophy more?
Solskjaer, 100% Solskjaer.
Because I think is that the pressure of being at United, or?
So I think Brendan Rodgers has no expectation on him. Well, I don't think he's got any expectation on him to win like the FA Cup with Leicester. I think if you outline you think, Brendan Rodgers, start of the season, the Leicester hierarchy are probably going to say, look, just do decently in the Premier League. If you have a good cup run, you have a good cup run. You know, but I think with Solskjaer, I think because he has lost every single semi-final that he's been in, I just think it's going to just be that relief. Obviously, we're talking quarterfinals at the moment. So if we get through...
He's probably scared to get to the semis then. He probably don't want to win this.
I mean, you know, I could make a pun and be like, Solskjaer can only manage a semi, but, you know...
You've done it now.
There we go. It's out there now. But but no, I think Ollie does need it more, and you know, because of the fact that obviously he's trying to build this team as well. I think for the team itself, it would be a good confidence booster as well. You know, going into next season, you know, if they want to look at mounting a title challenge, you know, it's going to have to be, you know, there's going to need to be some rebuilding, but then I think it would be one of these situations where if he does win the FA Cup this year, people would see it as a decent achievement. You know, I think, you know, he's won it as a player, and it's like, you know, to go in then and win it as a manager with United, I think it'd be a decent success for him. It
definitely buys you time as well. I mean, look at Arsenal last year. Arsenal with Arteta, you know, same thing. Won it as a player, now wins it as a manager. And when he's in the conversation about managers in and around his kind of area in the Premier League, well, it's 10th for the moment, but you know, the teams that we should be compared to, really, the top 6, then that gets him a lot of favour. And I think like you, I think Solskjaer really needs that at the moment. He needs to kind of get through that, break that barrier of the semi-final. He needs a trophy. Obviously, Leicester City would love to have a trophy, and Brendan Rodgers, obviously big-time winner at Celtic, came close at Liverpool. And it would be amazing for them to get the FA Cup. But like you said, I don't think it's in the objective. Like, the main thing for them is top 4. Whereas I think for United, obviously they definitely need top 4, but it's more of a given with United. Like, it's the first thing expected, you know, like how it used to be for Arsenal, but now, but it's the first thing expected for Man United's top 4. That's a minimum, and kind of like the focus, I think, with United at the moment is probably more so silverware, because they need to start getting back on that winning run.
Yeah, I mean, because I know back in the day, anything below first place for United was seen as failure. You know, that was just a given. You know, I grew up in the era of watching Man United that, you know, if you finish second, that was a terrible season. But it's been, obviously, we've spoken before about how much of a rebuilding process it's been at United. I think under Sir Alex Ferguson, if we didn't win the league, we were finishing second, pretty much. I think the lowest we finished, was third in the Premier League.
Arsenal, Chelsea.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I think so.
Arsenal, yeah,
and you know, for someone to do that consistently through the Premier League years, that was, you know, first or second or third. That was just incredible. So
dream, you know, now, isn't it?
I think these last few years for me, you know, it's been like it's been more of that roller coaster ride that other teams have gone through. So, you know, looking at United now from like a fresh perspective of like, okay, so we're not going in winning everything. You know, you kind of get into that thing of like, it's expected that you're going to win it. Whereas it's nice to sometimes go into a competition, be seen as like on par with teams or as slight underdogs going into it, rather than people expecting you to win
it's
it.
a strange
and then you
look at it,
failing kind of thing.
like you say, your whole life you look at football in a certain view. You know, I've thought this about Man United. This is going off topic, obviously FA Cup, but I've thought about this about Man United for years. That I thought it'd be funny when they got to the point that they've got at, because finally Man United fans would see what it's like to be a football fan in some sense. Because as far as the ones that grew up like you did with Premier League, you know what I mean, trebles and whatever else. You know, we got that reality check. My generation, our generation even, you know, of Arsenal fan for me, got that reality check a little earlier, obviously. And Liverpool fans have had it as well. But yeah, for Man United, I always thought it'd be interesting to get your perspective on like what it's like to be, you know, you have a shift on football, the way you see football. And I think that's an interesting point.
Yeah, I think, and for me as well, the way I always look at it is I always do try and look at it as a football fan first and a Man United fan secondary. So it's like that. Ultimately, I'm a fan of football. You know, Man United is the team that I follow. But if there's a football match on, 9 times out of 10, it will just be sat on the TV watching it. It's like whether it's like there was a game the weekend, I think Everton Burnley, that was just on the TV in the background. It's like, you know what, I'll have a watch of it. You know, if it's on, it's on. You know, but obviously the only ones I really get into is obviously the Man United and England games.
But it's weird to have that perspective now, like where you're looking at things like you're almost liking this new version of Man United because you're getting to experience new things that you haven't experienced as a football fan.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be one of them things where if we do then go on and win the FA Cup, it'll kind of make it a little bit so sweeter because, you know...
When we win the FA Cup, mate, it feels so good. I mean, it always felt good. Like we said earlier, we're traditionalists. We both love the FA Cup. But especially last season for Arsenal when we didn't have the best season and we still won the FA Cup. It's beautiful. So, yeah, coming for someone that's won it recently in a lower form team, I think for you, yeah, like you say, if you guys win it, it's going to feel so good.
And the only thing is, I just hope that if we do win it, that Maguire doesn't like drop the trophy this year.
Yeah, it was a bit weird with that one. But but anyway, it's been good talking FA Cup once again. Even though Arsenal ain't in it, I'm gutted about that. I'm happy to see the FA Cup come back, much like you, football fan. In a obviously a big way, not just an Arsenal fan. So I'm gonna be enjoying watching these games over the weekend, and hopefully, obviously for me, like you say, you know, no disrespect, Dan, but I don't want Man United to win the FA Cup. Yeah. So
as a neutral, who do you want to win?
The whole thing.
At
the moment, let me look at. Obviously, Bournemouth would be the best, but that ain't gonna happen. Out of the realistic ones, who I think could do it, Everton, I think, would be nice to see, because although I like Leicester, you know, they're a team that I think are a decent side. Everton just ain't had a trophy. But then again, it's like, do you really want to give a trophy to someone that they're more our rivals now, Leicester and Everton? You know, like we ain't going for the top.
Nah, Leicester are ours, mate.
Yeah, true. They're a bit further away from us, but you know,
you're more Bournemouth.
Yeah, come on, man. But you don't want. Sometimes you don't want those other teams in and around you to kind of build. Like I genuinely think if Everton win it, or if Leicester win it, they'll go to that next step. But if we're not talking about that and we're just talking about a team that ain't won a trophy in a while, then I think it'd be Everton, because they're a team, especially you think back to their teams from the 80s, you know, and it would be funny. Although I quite enjoyed somewhat Liverpool winning it last year, just for the fact that the story of 30 years and whatever else, as a football fan, I know that's harder for you to say. But then at the same time, again, I'm a football fan. So now you give me the chance of, in the year that Liverpool do awful, for Everton to win a trophy, that's another great story. So that would be great as well. So for me, I think I'd like to see Everton out of the teams that are left in it. But yeah, I think it's most likely to be Man City. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, if United don't win it, I think I would like to see Everton win it. I mean, in an ideal world, I'd love to see, if United don't make it past this round, I'd love to see the final be Everton and Southampton. That would be a really good for me.
Well, even I know you'd be upset because they would have knocked you out, but Everton, Leicester City, that would be a really good final.
I mean, the thing is, I think it's just, for me, it's just ABC really. Anyone but City.
Hey mate, I'm just glad Spurs ain't in it, so I can relax and watch this. Other than, like I said, you don't want Man United and Chelsea winning as an Arsenal fan, you know, realistically. But if Man United and Chelsea come up in the final, then there's a decision to make as a neutral. But as a neutral from afar, with 8 teams still in it, for me, I'd love to see an Everton and Leicester City final. But anyway, guys, let us know what you think. Tell us in the comments below who you think will be going through. this round and who you think is going to go all the way. Be really interesting to hear your points on this one. Dan, thank you for joining me. It's been good to talk
having me.
FA Cup. This is the first proper video on the brand new Rebellious Noise Football Channel. So please subscribe if you're new here. If you have followed us over from the original Rebellious Noise channel, thank you very much for doing so. Don't unsubscribe there because we've got some good stuff coming up there as well for all the content, you know, all the kind of things we cover, music, film, TV, sport, pop culture in general. So subscribe over there for nice little clips and stay right here for full episodes of the RNFC podcast and more football content. We've got loads coming on this channel. So once again, thank you very much for watching. And Dan, I was going to say good luck, but I wouldn't mean it, so I'm going to leave it there.
Thanks, mate.